Imagine you were standing on the deck of a wooden pirate ship hundreds of years ago. The ocean stretches endlessly in every direction. The wind pushes against the sails, the waves crash against the hull, and your crew has been traveling for weeks with no land in sight. The wooden boards beneath your feet shake as a ship moves through the waves. The smell of salt fills the air, and the only sounds around you are the wind, the ocean, and the voices of sailors working to keep the ship moving forward. You have survived storms that nearly destroyed your ship. You have watched massive waves rise above the deck and threaten to swallow everything below. You have fought enemies who wanted to steal your treasure and take your ship. You have watched friends disappear beneath the waves, never to return. Life at sea has taught you one important lesson. The ocean does not care who you are. It does not care if you are a pirate captain, a skilled sailor, or a beginner stepping onto a ship for the first time. At any moment, the ocean can change from calm and peaceful to deadly and violent. But then someone brings a simple piece of fruit onto the ship, a banana. Suddenly, some sailors become nervous. Some refuse to touch it. Others believe it should be thrown into the ocean immediately before it brings disaster to the entire crew. To modern people, this sounds ridiculous. A banana is just a fruit. It cannot sink a ship. It cannot summon a storm. It cannot cause a pirate crew to lose a battle. But to sailors of the past, bananas became connected with something much more frightening than the fruit itself: bad luck. For hundreds of years, sailors have lived in a world where survival depended on things they could not control. The ocean was unpredictable, diseases were deadly, and one mistake could mean the difference between life and death. A sailor could spend years learning how to navigate the sea, understand the winds, and operate a ship, but there were still countless dangers waiting for them. A sudden storm could destroy their vessel. A shortage of food could leave the crew starving. A sickness spreading through the ship could kill dozens of men within days. Because of this, sailors developed hundreds of strange beliefs and superstitions. They believed certain animals could bring luck. They believed certain actions could anger the sea. They believed some objects were signs of disaster. These beliefs became a part of everyday life for sailors. When your survival depends on forces you cannot control, even the smallest things can begin to feel important. And somehow, among all the dangers of pirate life, the banana became one of the strangest things sailors feared. But where did this strange belief come from? The story begins with the dangerous reality of life at sea. Being a sailor during the age of pirates was not the adventurous life that movies often show. Pirate crews were not constantly searching for treasure, celebrating victories, and living without rules. The truth was much harsher. Most days were filled with hunger, exhaustion, sickness, and danger. A ship was a small wooden world surrounded by thousands of miles of ocean. Hundreds of men could spend months living together in cramped conditions with little privacy and limited supplies. Fresh food was difficult to keep. Clean water was difficult to store. Diseases could spread quickly between crew members living close together. The lower parts of a ship were dark, damp, and uncomfortable. Rats moved through the cargo areas, insects were common, and sailors constantly battled against conditions that would seem unbearable today. A sailor could survive a battle against another ship and still die from an infection days later. Because the ocean was so dangerous, sailors searched for anything that could explain the terrible things that happened to them. If a ship was destroyed by a storm after a certain event, sailors remembered it. If someone died after something unusual happened, sailors connected the two. If a voyage went badly after a certain item came aboard, sailors started avoiding that item. Over time, these memories became stories, and stories became superstitions. The belief that bananas were unlucky did not come from pirates during the famous Golden Age of piracy. There is no evidence that legendary pirates like Blackbeard or Captain Kidd refused to carry bananas on their ships. Pirates were not walking around their ships terrified of a piece of fruit. Instead, the fear became more common among sailors in later centuries, especially those involved in transporting tropical fruit across oceans. However, Pirates and sailors came from the same maritime world. They shared the same dangers, the same fears, and many of the same superstitions. A pirate ship was still a sailor's world. They depended on the weather, the ocean, and luck, just like everyone else who lived at sea. So how did a harmless fruit become connected with danger? One reason was that bananas were difficult cargo to transport. Unlike dried food, salted meat, and other supplies sailors carried on long journeys, bananas spoiled quickly. A ship could carry food that lasted for months, but bananas had a much shorter lifespan. Once they started becoming overripe, they would rot, attract insects, and create unpleasant conditions on board. For sailors who depended on their supplies to survive, spoiled food was a serious problem. A damaged shipment could mean losing valuable resources. A crew already dealing with limited supplies did not want something else creating problems. And when sailors noticed that ships carrying bananas often had problems, they began connecting the fruit with disaster. But the problems became even serious because of where banana ships traveled. Bananas came from tropical regions, meaning ships carrying them often traveled through warm waters where storms, dangerous currents, and difficult conditions were common. These voyages were already risky. The ships had to move quickly because bananas could spoil before reaching their destination. This meant sailors were often dealing with long journeys, unpredictable weather, and pressure to deliver their cargo before it went bad. When accidents happened, people sought an explanation. Instead of blaming difficult routes, dangerous weather, or simple bad luck, some sailors blamed the bananas. The fruit became the symbol of everything that could go wrong. There was also another reason sailors disliked carrying tropical fruits. Before modern shipping methods and advanced cleaning systems existed, fruits brought from faraway places could carry unwanted passengers. Insects and small creatures could hide among the leaves and cargo. For sailors sleeping below the deck of a wooden ship, discovering bugs inside their food supplies was another reminder that they were living in a dangerous environment. The ocean already felt unpredictable. The last thing sailors wanted was another problem appearing inside their own ship. But perhaps the biggest reason bananas gained their reputation was because sailors were surrounded by uncertainty. Life at sea was filled with situations where people had no control. A storm could appear without warning. A ship could disappear. A disease could spread through the entire crew. When people face situations they cannot control, they often search for patterns. A sailor might remember that a ship carrying bananas experienced a terrible accident. Another sailor might hear that story and decide never to bring bananas on board. Years later, another crew repeats the warning. Eventually, nobody remembers exactly how the superstition started. They only remember the rule: never bring bananas on a ship. This was common among sailors throughout history. They created traditions because traditions gave them a feeling of safety. Even if avoiding a banana could not actually prevent a storm, believing it could make sailors feel like they had some control over their fate. And the banana was not the only strange belief sailors had. The world of pirates and sailors was filled with unusual superstitions. Many sailors believed certain animals brought good luck, while others were signs of danger. Some believed dolphins swimming near a ship meant the voyage would be successful. Others feared certain birds because they believed they represented death. Many sailors also believed that disturbing the ocean in certain ways could bring disaster. These beliefs may seem strange today, but they made sense in a world before modern science could explain everything. Sailors did not have weather satellites predicting storms. They did not have modern medicine protecting them from disease. They did not have advanced technology helping them navigate the ocean. They had only their experience, their instincts, and the stories passed down from previous generations. So even though bananas were never truly dangerous, the fear surrounding them became very real. The interesting thing about the banana superstition is that it shows us something important about pirates and sailors. They were not fearless people who laughed in the face of danger. They were humans trying to survive in one of the harshest environments on Earth. They feared storms, they feared sickness, they feared running out of food, and sometimes they feared something as simple as a piece of fruit. The legend of the cursed banana survived because it represents something much bigger than a fruit. It represents the mystery of the ocean and the fear sailors felt when facing a world they could not completely understand. So, were pirates really afraid of bananas? Probably not in the way movies make it seem. A pirate captain was not likely to abandon a treasure hunt because someone brought a banana on board. But sailors did create powerful superstitions around the fruit, and those beliefs became part of maritime history. The banana was never the enemy. The real enemy was the unpredictable world sailors lived in, a world where a calm ocean could become a deadly storm, a world where a small mistake could cost an entire crew their lives, and a world where even something as ordinary as a banana could become a warning of danger. Because when you spend your life surrounded by an endless ocean, sometimes the strangest fears become the ones people remember the most. If you enjoyed this story, let me know in the comments, what pirate mystery should we uncover next? And if you want to discover the strange truth behind pirate history, don't forget to subscribe. There are plenty more stories waiting to be told.